Shonga chuji anji podrana toksen sanji kanji ngonyit razme shurga muzme stunza bar sawe lama namla sorate kirbe sanji chua shikdani nyamba druba shumla tanda sanjine manere dambe chanso tsen loto jamso shabla sorate Lame josme jamso toje dang shirke kuru pema shumla ji shedri tsinga gyalwe nyuku ye tanda drupa tanjine trupara ho Ranjin lame drambe kaje la kosme jaro shidro la tsohe Rale jana nepre tujo Tuyo yurmi jivare shinji lo Homage to His Holiness Lama Achuk Rinpoche. Homage to Gyalwe Nyugu Rinpoche. And of course, before that, I should also say homage to Sakyamuni Buddha. Raised bodhicitta to benefit countless suffering sentient beings. May all beings have happiness and all the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and all the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the great happiness, devoid of suffering. And may they forever dwell in the great equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. To sacred Bodhisattva, the precious and excellent mind. Where it is not, may it arise. Where it is, may it never decline. Consistently growing, rising higher and higher. We carry on these most auspicious teachings of Atisha, the Bodhisattva's garland of jewels. Last week we spoke about, well, the last few weeks we've been speaking about loving kindness, compassion, bodhicitta. We've been speaking about cause and effect, and we've been speaking about faith. And faith is very important. If we don't have faith, we don't enter on into the path. In the beginning, we might start just with a little bit of faith. And this is okay, because we have a lot of doubts, we have a lot of questions, and it's good to address those doubts. It's good to sort out those doubts. When we sort them out, then we take away that lack of faith, and our faith becomes stronger. Also, the more we practice, we get some results. When we get results, we see, oh, really? This really is like this. So then our faith increases. When our faith increases, we practice some more, we get more results, and then our faith increases. And so our faith can increase like this. So if you don't have faith in the beginning, or it's very little in the beginning, don't worry. But why I say like faith is so important is because if you don't believe, if you turn the kettle on, it's going to boil the water, you're not going to turn the kettle on. If you don't believe that you can learn to drive, you're not going to endure all those embarrassing moments. When you begin and you grate the clutch and the gears don't work together, you grate the gears, you want to hit the brakes and you hit the accelerator, or you want to hit the accelerator and you hit the brakes, and the people next to you or teaching you have to endure all sorts of interesting situations. But because you have the faith, because you have the belief, you have the determination, you carry on. You believe that you can learn to drive, and eventually you learn to drive. So in this way, faith is important. Faith also is just not oh, I just believe. Faith includes believing in the teachings, in the teacher. The teacher incorporates the teachers, holds those teachings. You believe in cause and effect. You believe in impermanence. You believe in the suffering of samsara. You believe in the precious human life. You believe in the value of bodhicitta and wisdom emptiness. It includes all of this. So it really includes all of the teachings. And faith as well. It's like you have to have the arising causes. If you have the teacher and you have the faith, then the qualities of the teacher can reflect in your mind. Just like if you have the moon and you have the water and the rising causes come together, then the moon can reflect in the water. But if you're missing the moon, or if you're missing the water, the reflection isn't going to happen. The moon is not going to reflect in the water. Even if you have a little bowl and it's got water in it, it can reflect the moon. The bigger the water, the bigger the reflection can be. But with just having the water and the moon, and you have the arising causes, the moon reflects in the water. The same as well. If you have the teacher and you have the faith, those qualities can reflect in your mind. Even if it's just a little bit, it can still reflect in your mind. But if you don't have that faith, it's difficult how those qualities with the teacher are going to reflect in your mind. If you're practicing the great perfection, most important is belief, faith, and the other is love and kindness and compassion towards sentient beings. Of course, when we start teaching Buddhism, we don't start with this, is stressing so much belief and wisdom emptiness. What we do is we first make people feel happy. We resolve their problems. If we straight away start teaching great perfection to other people that don't really know Buddhism, that are not really interested in Buddhism yet, it's not really going to be so helpful. But where do we start? We teach them meditation, we teach them happiness meditation, we teach the importance of their emotions and how these emotions cause suffering. We teach them a little bit about impermanence. But for some people, you stress death too much, then they say, or you stress suffering too much, then they say, there's already so much suffering, and now you want me to deal more with suffering. This is too much. Or, I don't like the topic of death. I'm so scared of death. Now you want me to think about death. So, at first we use a gentle approach. As they realize, oh yes, actually meditation is so beneficial. Actually, yes, things are impermanent. Actually, yes, I am going to die. Actually, yes, these afflictions do cause suffering. Then we can further introduce them more to deeper and deeper practices. So we must use skillful means. Use ways to introduce people. Just because we don't start with the in-depth teachings doesn't mean that they're not correct. Just sometimes people are not ready for it. What people want to know now is, how do I resolve my problems? My family problems, my relationship problems, my depression, my unhappiness. When you help them do this, then they slowly start to transform and they feel, oh yes, okay, this really is so, and maybe I'll invest more time in it, and maybe I'm more interested in it, and then we can introduce them into more profound practices. Love and kindness, I think everybody understands, but wisdom, emptiness is maybe a little bit difficult, death, and of course belief. I'm teaching you, I'm talking to you this now because it's a bit of a mixture. Some of you are just beginning and some of you have been on the path. And so for those of you on the path, it is important to realize the importance of belief. And also, if you're just starting out, also realize that eventually belief is important. If we start in the beginning as well, people just think it's superstition. We're taught to query things. We're taught not to just believe things. We believe in science more than we believe in maybe resolving our afflictions and methods to resolve our afflictions. So it's just a process, it's just methods. We just use different people, have different capacities, different interests, and so according to their different ways, we bring them towards the path. Most important is that what are we doing? We're changing our habits, that we're minimizing our karma, we're increasing our love and kindness, that we are getting better and better at transforming our own mind stream, and that more and more we have love and kindness towards sentient beings. And it's important that we use these methods. I don't know if we discussed it, I don't remember last week, but if we just use our old methods, our old habits, how are we going to be free from samsara? All the methods, all our habits, all our afflictions, they've kept us suffering. We're happy for a while and then we suffer, and then we're happy and we suffer. So it's obvious that our methods are not going to resolve the problem of freeing us from samsara, of freeing us from these afflictive emotions. So don't go and say, oh, I like a little bit of this and I go like a little bit of that. If you do this, you mix the true Dharma with your emotions and your habits, you're not really going to resolve your afflictions ultimately. If you go to a doctor, take his medicine. He knows this medicine has worked, and there's a good chance it is going to work. This medicine does work. If you take it according to the teachings, according to the practices, according to the guidelines, it does work. How do we know it's worked? Thousands of teachers, thousands of students have attained enlightenment. And they use these methods, so you know they work. Using our methods, how many people have attained enlightenment? We don't have to say more, do we? The problem is, we like our habits, we feel comfortable with our habits, we're a little bit lazy to change, we don't like to change. We feel comfortable. This is what we're used to, so we like to stay with what we're used to. We start carrying on with the text. With a few once, be content with what you have, and with gratitude repay any kindness you receive. So simplicity. Very important, simplicity. Keep it simple, stupid, the KISS principle. Try and minimize your wants, try and minimize your desires. Keep life simple. Part of the problem that we have, part of our anxiety, our stress, is because we don't keep things simple. Our minds are complicated. We like to make things complicated. We want so much, we desire so much. We desire big houses, brand names, brand name cars, brand name clothes, designer this, designer that. We think that this is really what's going to make us happy. Maybe it brings us status, maybe it brings us fame, but fame and status doesn't guarantee that it's going to bring you happiness. When we want a lot, we have to put a lot of effort into it. We want a big house, we have to get a big salary. We have to go to the bank and get a big bond. To get a big bond, we need a big salary. We need security. So, we have to work hard. Often involves a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, a lot of hours. Not only that, unless we're very fortunate, we've got a family that just buys the house for us, it means we're indebted to the bank. And I've seen people that get a bond and they pay off their house, and after 10 or 15 years, eventually they pay off their house. And they're so happy. They've let go of this burden. See, when you take out a bond, what happens? Your life, you're tied into the bank. You have to repay that money. It causes a lot of stress. You get that statement every month, a reminder, you've got to go to work. So it does, it creates stress, it creates anxiety. It does, it makes life complicated. I agree, at the end of the day, maybe, or yes, you have an investment. And this investment might be very valuable. But also, if you invest your time in transforming your mind, all these afflictions, maybe you won't need a house to be happy and to have that investment. Your investment in your mind stream, in your qualities, in your love and kindness might be sufficient. Of course, it would be best to have both if we can, wouldn't it? Or the big car, or the designer car. We have to take a bond, we have to take hire purchase. And not only do we keep that car for 10 or 20 years, after a few years, 1 or 2 years, people want another one and another one. What are we doing? We're getting caught in the trap. You always have to go to work. You become part of the rat race. You're part of the system. You have to repay your debts. It's expensive car, expensive house, expensive rates, expensive insurance. What happens also, not only do you have it, you feel very happy about it, but you also worry about it. Upkeep of the car, upkeep of the house. Worry about somebody damaging your house, so you have to pay extra insurance. What about people stealing things, stealing your car, damaging your car? You know, some people, they're more worried if somebody bumps their car than if they bump their body. Don't scratch my car. Anybody scratches my car, it's like somebody has really mortally injured them. They get so angry, so upset. It becomes more important than their body almost. Oh, all of this anger, all this anxiety, all of these material things. And at the end of the day, it might get stolen. It might get taken away. Also, look at student loans. You look in America, people are, I think, what they call statute of limitations. There's no statute of limitations. Once you have a student loan, you are indebted until the day you die unless you repay that student loan. And it's really a lot of money. So as soon as you become a student, you invest a lot of time and effort in getting your degree, you have a big burden to carry. So all of these things, they don't keep our life simple. They make life difficult. And then when we have it, we worry about losing it. Look at like places in South Africa. Look what has happened in Zimbabwe. You work very hard for your land, your house, and then people say, well, there's a change of guard, and your house, your farm gets taken away. These things can happen, all your hard work, and then what happens? You're very unhappy, embittered, angry, disappointed, feel it's unfair. All of that hard work, where does it go to? Of course, this isn't always what happens, but sometimes this happens. Things change. So rather keep your life simple. If it's simple, you've got time. You've got time to practice. You're more relaxed. Your life isn't complicated. If you have all of these things, you have to work hard. Your life, your energy, your time is consumed with material things. Consumes 10 or 15 years paying off that bond. Many of those hours, if your life was simple, you could have used it to practice. And you probably would have had less stress and less worries. And how much enjoyment are you having? If you have that house, that car, how much enjoyment do you really have? How much time do you spend in your house? In your car? Do you enjoy it all the time? Or after a while, do you just take it for granted? And all of that happiness that you're envisaging, is it really there? Or you want another house or another car. Why do we do this? Because this is what society says. This is what's important. This is what the adverts say. This is what's important. A whole model of success. So much of our success is based on this. The gross domestic product. How much are you consuming? Why are they doing it? You must make a profit. So they want you to. Society or adverts or TV, They want you to buy. They want you to consume. So, is it so good for us? Is it so good for the planet? And as I say, at the end of the day, we have to leave it behind. Or it gets lost, or it gets stolen, or it becomes somebody else. You can accumulate great riches. But at the end of the day, it goes to somebody else. And sometimes, what did we do to accumulate these riches, this wealth? Look at these leaders in Africa, some of them. Recently, there's one leader. He's got an estate of $2 billion. Those $2 billion, he has to leave behind. He's died. It's going to happen as well. Whatever you've got, you leave behind to your family, if not to your enemies, to the taxpayers, or to the government. You can't take it with you. And how much unhappiness, how much suffering is it going to cause you? Some people, they have so much, but they're so stingy. They count every penny. They don't want to give anything to anybody. And even when they die, they want you to write down and tell them. Some of them even say, when you come to the next life, you must tell me what you've done with this money. Some of them are lying there. They even hide their passport underneath their pillow. They hide their wallet underneath their pillow, and they still count how much money they've got. They're going to die, but they're still worried about their money. When they die, they suffer. You think just because you leave your body behind, you don't suffer. You're going to leave all of this wealth behind. For many people, it creates great suffering. They don't know where they're going, and everything they have to leave behind. They might leave the material things. This material things stay behind, but that attachment, those emotions, that grasping that they have for those material things doesn't just disappear. And as we say, what did you do for that wealth? Some of these leaders, how many people did they have killed? Their people suffered, starved, didn't have good sanitation, so that that they could have billions. All those suffering, their suffering still going to come. Cause and effect. All that harm that they've caused others. So these people don't feel anger towards them. Really feel great love and compassion towards them. You might think, what is he talking about? But really think about how we feel with just a little bit of suffering, the suffering that they are going to experience. All that wealth stays behind, their suffering is going to start. So really, for these people, really pray for them. Really recite mantras for them. Really think for them. Just what can we do? They didn't realize what they were doing is going to create great suffering now. So rather keep your life simple. Rather practice. Rather gain the riches of the mind, of the 7 areas which comes later, of the 6 parameters of love and kindness and compassion. These stay in your mind stream. These all go with you. They go with you to the next life and the next life. And they benefit you again and again. This is really long-term investment. And it'll benefit you. The more you practice this life, the more it's going to benefit you in this life and the future lives. What do we need? We need something to eat, nourish us. If you have a meal that costs 10 euros or it costs 100 euros, it's still going to fill your stomach. Still going to feel satisfied. You sleep in a huge big bed, or you sleep in a little bed. If you sleep, it's the same. If you're warm, it's the same. If you've got a little place, it's enough. And also people's minds are complicated, so complicated. It's very sad, in fact. Just recently I've heard of a few stories, not just one, a few stories, where people have been in relationships and then something happens and the people blackmail them, the people threaten them, they create all sorts of rubbish, they tell lies, they take them to court, they fabricate all sorts of nonsense because of these emotions of theirs, their jealousy, their pride, their attachment, I don't know, all of these things. It's really incredible. I never realized people's minds could be so complicated. Keep it simple. Keep your material needs simple. Keep your mind simple. It's much, much easier. If you have 1,000 horses, you have the worry of 1,000 horses. If you have one bowl, you have the worry of one bowl. Let go of these attachments. Actually, I was at the doctor the other day, and I went to a Tibetan doctor, and he's a really great doctor. And there's 70 districts that come and see him. And you know, in Nepal, when you go to the doctor, it's not the same as in the West, where you have your appointment alone with your doctor. Maybe the doctor sees, I don't know, 25, 30 people in the consulting times. There's queues of people. And the people don't really understand standing in a queue so well, so you really have to watch. You get there, you get a number, and you have to watch those numbers, because people, they're not worried about jumping the queue. And you get there, and you're in the queue, and then you go to the doctor, and people are concerned, so 3 or 4 people come into the doctor's room at the same time. So you don't have that same privacy. Anyway, the doctor was telling me that he's just saying that in Nepal many people are taking a lot of pills, and they haven't got the education, they haven't been taught. They see 5 milligrams, they think it's nothing, but they don't realize that that's actually a lot of chemicals, and they take it again and again, and then they have a lot of chemicals in their body, and it causes them and their children, it causes ache, it causes suffering. They have pain. And I was actually thinking, well, actually, I think it's not so difficult in the West. I think in the West there's many people that are addicted to headache tablets and a lot of these chemical things as well, and it might resolve the problem temporarily, but I don't know if it causes, sometimes it causes like defects or withdrawals, or sometimes it really causes, those chemicals cause imbalances in our body and they cause suffering. Anyway, I asked him, he said, why? Is it because they're really worrying a lot? And he laughed and he said, you know, Nepali people might not have a lot, they might not be so wealthy, but one thing they do not suffer from is a lot of worry. So what would you rather have? Would you live a life having less material things and have less worries? Or would you rather have more worries? Material things, all of these things that we want, do they really bring us happiness? If they did, in these Western worlds, developed worlds, why is there more suffering? Why is there more depression? Why is there more suicide? People have more. They have enough. They have more than enough. But yet they're so unhappy. So do material things, all of these demands, really make us happy? And what we're doing to the planet as well. I was watching a little discussion with a very young girl. It was very, very inspirational to me. 16 years old, 17 years old, becoming like an icon towards looking after the planet. And one of the biggest problems is we just are so driven by consuming. We think this is successful. We just don't have a system to think that actually this is what's causing so much harm to our planet, and in 10 years, 20 years, what is going to happen to this planet? Surely there's other ways of thinking, different ways of thinking. Do we have to subscribe to this political system, this way of thinking that more is better? Anyway, maybe one way is just practicing gratitude. And over here it says, speaks about gratitude. It's very important to have gratitude. How much gratitude do we practice? How often do we look at what we got? Or how often are we looking at what I don't have, what I still want, what I need? What I need. As I said, we have so much. So many countries, people have so much. Why are they unhappy? Is it because of the material things? They don't have the material things, or because of their own state of mind? Because they're looking at what they don't have instead of having a look. Very simply, have a look at what you have. Be grateful for what you have. Change your mindset. And if you're grateful for what you have, there's a good chance you're not going to want more. Or you're not going to need so much more. Wow, I'm so fortunate. Look what I've got. We don't think about the people that help us in our life. The people that contribute to our happiness, to our comfort. Don't think about the shopkeepers, the people at the shop tellers, the people that build the roads, the people that supply electricity, the people that supply water, public transport. All of these people, all of these facilities are adding to our life. The provision of food in the supermarkets. Sure, why are they doing it? To make a profit. Because they're being paid to do it. Why are people working? Because they want to be happy, just like us. They don't want to suffer, just like us. They're working because they want to buy a few things. They think if they buy these things, they'll be happy. Or their family will be happy. Or they won't suffer if they have these things. Just like us. But we earn our salary, and then we buy something. And sure, we expect a certain quality for what we buy. And that's okay, that's right. But we don't have to go shout at people and hurt people and degrade people and belittle people. We can still treat those people well. They're also working just like us because they want to be happy, they don't want to suffer. We can still respect them. We don't have to follow them, we don't have to be like them. But we can still respect people, we can still treat them with kindness, with love. We can still say, I don't accept the fact that the goods aren't the required quality, but we can do it in a good way, in a respectful way. Somebody was telling me, we were talking about this, he's saying, he used to go to the supermarket and he used to go to the tellers, and everybody was all grumpy. And he really disliked this. It really made him unhappy. It made him angry. And then he decided to change it. He decided every time he'll go there, he'll be nice to them, he'll speak to them, he'll smile at them. And now whenever he goes, they're very happy to see him. It's a very different experience. What changed it? His attitude changed. The way he approached them had changed. And then they changed as well. Suddenly they were appreciated. They felt important. And those people are going to be willing to help you. What do we do? What do we do? We remember the one bad thing. We don't remember the 99 good things. Somebody can help us. They can do incredible things. They do one thing wrong. What do we talk about? What do we remember? What do we rub in their face? Also, remember, everything is impermanent. We expect everything to go right all the time. So many things have to come together. So many causes and conditions for things to go happen and go right. Train should arrive at this time. It doesn't. You see people getting agitated. Well, anyway, in some countries I see people getting agitated. In some countries that's just the norm. What could go wrong? So many things. The drivers could have a strike. They could be sick. There could be obstacles on the tracks. There could be bad weather. Somebody could have had a problem on the train. There could have been an incident. There could have been somebody died or got sick. There can be so many things that happen, but we get upset, inconveniencing me. Me. Like in the traffic as well. Somebody's causing a problem. Oh, this person. We don't think, well, are they sick? The poor person, I know what it's like when my car breaks down. We just think of the inconvenience caused to me. We don't think about what their problem is. Anyway, our life is so involved with other people. Even the farmers. Look what happened in Zimbabwe. They took away the farms. The farms feed people. So they took away the farms, then the people starved. Life expectancy went down to the 30s. Why do I tell you this? Because we don't appreciate the farmers. Yes, they're doing it for a profit, but without the farmers, where does our food come from? From the shop? So, what about the bees, the insects? What do they do for us? Without them, would we have flowers? Would we have fruit? Would we have vegetables? Without the water, without the earth. Water, earth gives to us without any questions, without discrimination. Whoever wants to take can take. Of course, what changes is other people don't let us. It's mine. The problem is not with the earth and the water, it's with people's greed and attachment. And just that we can breathe. If you haven't got oxygen, how long are you going to live? Without this earth, how long are you going to live? Without water, how long are you going to live? Without food, how long are you going to live? How often are we grateful for our meal? Just that we can eat. How often are we grateful that we can drink water? How often do we just think every breath is a gift? Now, do we still need all of those extra things? How many extra things do we really need? Got so much to be grateful for. But if we always want what we don't have, and we don't want what we have, how are we going to be happy? If we're always looking for something else instead of looking, wow, I'm so lucky, this is what I've got. We really don't practice sufficient gratitude. How much gratitude do you practice every day? How many people contribute to your happiness? There might be people you meet that you see walking in the street. You have no idea what they've done for you today. So at least with everybody, treat them with respect. You don't know what they've done for you today. And gratitude for what you have. Gratitude to your parents. What did your parents do for you? We've spoken about this. Your mother, from her own flesh and blood, you were born. She carried you. She fed you. She nourished you until you were born. She protected you. She worried about you. Your parents helped to educate you. They gave you food. They dropped everything when you were sick and they looked after you. They gave up their dreams. Somebody, even if if you don't have that relationship with your parents, somebody helped you. Gratitude. How many people help you every day, contribute to your life every day? Are you getting tired of this? Gratitude. So let's practice. When we're looking at everybody else, what the king has got, or what Bill Gates has got, or what these rich people have got, there's people in Africa. They're looking at what you got and think how lucky you are. And they want what you want. So let's just spend a few minutes being grateful. First, be grateful for anything that you want to be grateful for. 5 things, 10 things. Grateful for your health. The people that don't have health, they'll tell you you just don't realize what a treasure health is. But we just take it for granted. Gratitude for health, for anything. Just spend a minute being grateful. Grateful for your health, for your car, for your house, for your salary, for your friends. Whichever thing comes to mind for you. Just for 1 minute. And then another minute, be grateful. Just think of people that have helped us. At work, in the shops, at the petrol station, any arbitrary act of kindness given you directions. Work colleagues, 1 minute. Then 1 more minute. Be grateful for having water to drink, food to eat. Gratitude to this earth. finally, gratitude for every breath. Just feel grateful for every breath that you can take. Practice gratitude. Make a conscious effort of practicing gratitude. Write a diary, write down notes every morning, every night. Think of whenever you can. Have reminders. Practice gratitude until it becomes second nature. Even at night, you can recite Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, full of gratitude, wishing for all of those people that you know that have helped you, and even those that you don't know that have helped you, that have contributed to your life, that they can be happy, that they can attain enlightenment. And of course, for all sentient beings. Don't you worry about a thing. If you can't change it, why worry? You can't do anything. If you can change it, why worry? Go about changing it. Instead of being unhappy, wanting, why not just be happy and content, being grateful, full of gratitude? Isn't it so much more joyous being grateful? Talk to therefore tonight. Let's dedicate these merits. First, to our perfect teachers, Gyalwe Nyuku Rinpoche, His Holiness Lama Achak Rinpoche, all perfect teachers, and the greatest of gratitude, that by this merit may all beings be free, may all beings attain omniscience, having defeated the enemies of wrongdoings, of the turbulent waves of birth, old age, sickness and death. May they all be liberated from the ocean of the suffering of samsara. Sonam deye tamja dzapanye, tobnye nyepe tranam khajeja, geka nanchir balam krupai, tsipu tsoli droa sho.
Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Kam sam chi zi ma sha re zi da